Tiermaker Roulette. We're doing
Episode.
We're doing it again.
Which one is this?
I have no idea. It's one of them for sure.
Check. Like episode fucking, I'm fighting Art.
Okay. Yeah, no. Go right ahead, and while you do that, I'm gonna try to remember
14.
where the random button is. Here it is. 14.
Episode 14. Yeah. I can't wait for
We
people.
are on the hunt. System of a Down album.
Iron album.
I wish I had gotten more into System of a Down as a teenager, so I could know anything about these.
I have heard like a small but not pathetic amount of System of a Down songs. Unfortunately, I don't actually even have any like association of like, oh well, fucking BYOB is from
We'll just say they're all great and move on. I don't feel like getting any System of a Down fans in our comments today. You know how those System of a Down fans are. It's
okay, System of a Down fans. I like System of a Down.
Gut lol Spieler innen. What the fuck is this? Get out of here.
Bullshit reroll. Fucking rating your Discord server, peeps. Die. That's what single-use templates are for, you fuck. Shingeki
Valentine? What is this?
Attack on Titan ships. We can reroll.
Okay. I thought maybe you had opinions on this. I don't, but
no.
Okay. I don't fucking know. You've seen the show.
Right. Yeah, I have. I like it, but not in like a I ship the character.
Wait, Fed ad? Oh
no, it's a different language.
Okay. I was like, what do you mean Fed ad?
Commercials for Feds
yeah, that would have been awesome.
Which is Sophia the First?
What is Sophia the First? Something I'm not familiar with. I mean, we could do these super quick just based on appearances. Like,
okay, Ice Girl's an S.
Absolutely, and I think the rest of these are like C. Fine. Yeah.
You're C. You're F. No, she's F.
Really?
The blue hair one is F.
Okay.
Yeah, that girl's like D. To be fair. No, I meant the yellow one. This girl's like A.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one's pretty good. I was gonna say.
Yes, she's A. Yellow is D.
I don't feel like it's nice. Bad. I'll put her in D.
I really like that there's 5 characters for what's clearly a very niche fandom, and I don't know about her tier.
Yeah, that's. I feel like they just copied the thing from something else. That's fine. Yeah, you know, we just did it based on character designs.
Yeah, we can upload that as a video.
Yeah, that's a YouTube short. Lord Ozio. What the fuck is this? No.
Some reroll.
Yeah. Give me like Uma Musume protagonist or something. Come on.
Yeah. Next gen and ADHD character.
What is? I have no idea what
this is. I think this is a Danganronpa fan project, yeah, which is hilarious, but we're not doing it. Inherently comedic idea, though.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
My favorite character is Komeda Jr. Something in
Korean.
Oh.
It's just anime.
Yeah.
I guess it's 2023 anime, which...
Yeah, we could do that. We've seen most of these, haven't we? Like between the two of us, surely we've seen like a good chunk of these.
Shy Telepath. I don't know what that is. I mean, sure.
Do you want to? If you don't want to, I will reroll.
My thing is just that there's a fair amount here, and I see Pokemon in the second column, middle row.
Second column. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yes, so put that up and
obviously.
Yeah, and now we can just move on.
Is there anything else?
Oh wait, here are Sky Creeker in the bottom right as well.
Yeah, no, that's also a good time.
And funnily enough, in the Musume season 3 in the top right. Yeah, I feel like that'll do. We could do free run in D tier, but you know.
I didn't even see that was in here.
Well, it was a 2023 show. It's Stardust Telepath.
Troll Gay Omniverse.
Yeah, this is a reroll.
What is anyone doing on the internet these days, man?
I try not to think about it too hard.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
Otherwise, Roblox does things.
Historical? Wait, hold the fucking phone.
Now, what's the overlap? Just people from history.
It's historical figures, yeah.
Yeah,
got a pretty wide variety of them too. We got like Ivan the Terrible.
Yeah, I'm seeing Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I think
Lincoln,
that's
Michael Jackson,
Constantine,
Hitler.
Just like Crusaders in general, I guess, with the Deus Vult picture.
Yeah, I didn't want to do this one personally.
I mean, let me just say this. If you're notable enough to be a historical figure, at least in the sense of being like a politician or something, you probably weren't a great person. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's usually how it goes.
You know.
But fucking Isaac Newton's on there, and you know what? Gravity? Mwah.
Yeah, pretty good. Good job with that one, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad passing up a good template, but like, to get depressing pretty quick, I think.
You know.
Like, ooh, do we put Donald Trump in D tier or F tier? Like, come on. What is this? Stop it.
Yeah. They made a whole tier list for that.
Yeah. You know. Age of Empires exclusives. Okay, I mean, how much do you know about history?
Not a lot.
Alright, fair. Also, some of these are kind of loaded questions in the present day. Like, hey, how do you feel about Ukraine? Well, kind of depends on where you live, I suppose, don't it?
I would have just been writing the emblems, honestly.
I mean, that's also fair. Probably a cleaner way to do it, if we're being real. Bit of a history theme to this session so far. Yeah, Young Royals. Yeah. Continuing the theme. I don't know what that is, but you know, I know what a royal is. There were two characters
that looked identical.
Twin
people,
siblings,
I guess.
Maybe. Yeah.
Or characters. I don't know if this is a reality show of something. Serial Clubs 2022-2023 Campeones.
This is football clubs?
Yep.
Yeah.
We can reroll. Yep. Football boring.
Football no, Josh, you can't say that. You're British. You have to like soccer.
I hate that.
Insects, bugs, and arachnids.
Hold up. Holy shit.
Hold up. We're good. We found it. We won.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Ants? Like...
Okay.
Is there an S tier? I'm not putting ants in S tier, but I just need to see.
Is there an S tier? There is, yes. Okay.
Yes, okay. I think ants.
Okay. Can I give you what I think about ants? You can tell me. Ants are like cool and admirable. I like a social insect. I think they're interesting. Have you ever seen like a documentary about the Amazon or something? They've got some vicious motherfuckers down there that are just like, yeah, this ant can like eat an entire fucking mammal,
a horse,
in a couple minutes if it knocks it over, and it's like, all right, cool. That said, ants are an insect I encounter in my day-to-day life, and I have insectophobia, so that's a bit of a downgrade.
You're rather bold for wanting to do this tier list.
Well, I mean, I don't really get it super bad from like stock images.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is I think ants are like, you know, the poster child for like insects.
That's true. True. They are one of the more basic insects, not in a bad way.
Mascots, they're pretty good for like environmental storytelling. As in, you can see ants and be like, damn, those are ants. in old animations to like steal your entire
Sorry.
picnic.
Hey Josh, hold up. Can we circle back to environmental storytelling of like you see a thing and you're like, damn, that's what it is.
Yeah, no, that's environmental storytelling.
I don't know. Do we think like B or C?
I think B. They're reliable.
Bedbugs are fucking nasty.
They're not really a thing here as far as I've been aware in my life.
I mean, they're not like a super common thing in America either, but I mean...
I don't think they're the literal worst. Probably, I'm thinking like E.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like...
to the very iconic expression, don't let the bugs bite, which is point.
That's true.
Bees. I like bees. You want to put them in the B tier because of the letter, but they belong in the S tier
because they're awesome. Yeah, no, bees are like we love, as we said, we love a social insect.
They're fuzzy.
They're fuzzy. Honey, one of the great gifts of nature. I love honey.
Yeah, honestly, S.
Yeah,
right?
No, just like they clear.
Yeah. Nice.
Beetle's like a really broad category of bug. When they say beetle, I'm picturing like a rhinoceros beetle. Are you on the same page with me there? Roughly.
There are not a lot of beetles in Scotland, and those that are all pretty small.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's
kind of pathetic. They're not really imposing, you know.
It's the same where I live. Like if we get a beetle here, it's like it's like an invasive field bug or something, and those are not.
Yeah,
those are not interesting or charismatic. But like
all those like things about like kids in like Japan and anime will just pick up like a huge beetle and then make them fight each other. Not doable here. The beetles aren't big enough.
But like. I think like a rhinoceros beetle, a Hercules beetle, a scarab. It's like a charismatic animal.
Yeah.
So I do have respect for the category. I think maybe this is another B for beetle.
I would say so as well. Yeah. They inspired Heracross, which is forever.
And Pinsir, one of my favorite Pokemon.
And Pinsir as well. Butterflies, I'm between A and S because
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
They're pretty.
That's fair.
I know the moth.
We'll get to the moth thing, I suppose. But okay, fair enough. Yeah, they are pretty.
They are pretty. They're very good photography bugs. That matters to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll have you know.
Like the thing that was with butterflies, and to be fair, butterfly and moth. I think it's one of those distinctions that's just kind of made up. Like the actual scientific category is lepidopterans, and I think they're both just...
Yeah, but I could psychologically tell. And one of them scares the shit out of me, and the other one doesn't. Don't ask me to explain it.
Fair enough. But you know,
it's probably completely a placebo effect, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I might try.
Phobias are irrational, Josh. That's like, I'm not asking you to explain yourself. But
quick point in favor of butterflies, by the way. End point of a caterpillar, ergo, perfect demonstration of metamorphosis.
Yeah, true.
In insects.
But yeah, no, I think these are easily an S tier. I think. Like if a butterfly's not an S tier, what is? You know?
No, that's true.
Caterpillars.
Caterpillars are... it's weird, because they turn into butterflies, so they should get points for that, but they're kind of boring on their own.
I don't know. I think caterpillars are cute.
Not boring. They are weird. You know that one image? It's just a fucking... I'm not gonna mess with that bug. He looks like he fights back, and then they're applying like Grofell for the camouflage.
Yeah.
Office trick in the book.
I mean,
I said that, and now I want to put in like A.
Yeah. Well, like that's the thing, right? Like caterpillars have got they got interesting designs. I mean, yeah, okay. Appearances, I guess, is what I should have said, but yeah.
No, the character designs go kind of crazy.
Hey, hold on. I got a fucking $1 million idea. Gotcha game, but you just collect bugs. Like, you don't...
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, what if they were anime girls? No. Just insects.
Yeah. So you can make like 4 different caterpillars for fucking every rarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
But
so they're either it's in like B or A for caterpillar.
I think that's an A. That's a solid A.
I can give you an A.
Centipedes. Centipedes are fucking scary.
We're gonna start getting into insects that I just don't see around here, like pretty promptly.
I was gonna go ahead and say that the fact that you don't see centipedes in your area means that you live in a good area. Centipedes are scary as fuck.
I think I've seen like extremely tiny centipedes.
Well, those are probably millipedes, which are a different thing.
Yeah, I suppose so, actually. Let's find out. Does Scotland have centipedes? We have... Apparently we do.
It's fair.
And they're tiny.
Yeah. But, like, big centipedes are predators, and they bite, and they're fucking scary looking, and they're fast. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Okay, I'm willing to concede to you like a lower position on this. I will say I think they should go up in D because they're one of the.
You don't see them that often, even in places where they exist.
That's not even what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say like the horror considerations. If you want to turn a small insect big and have that be scary,
true.
Centipedes are among the best.
Yeah, like the centipede demon from Dark Souls or something. That's fair.
Yeah,
we can put them in
like,
C. Then. That's a good point. That's a good
C
point.
For centipede.
Yeah.
Cicadas. Right.
The sound of summer.
I've never ever seen a cicada in my life.
Really?
We don't have them in Scotland at all. At least I think.
That's
Maybe
fair.
I'm completely wrong.
You gotta come here sometime during a bloom year, and you can.
Or place Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was always an interesting thing to me because I've always lived in places that have cicadas.
Okay, Britain has one native species of cicada that hasn't been spotted since at least the year 2000.
That's cool.
I was born in 2000.
That's fucked up.
I was born and the cicadas ran.
Yeah, they had to get out of there. No, but cicadas.
Is a pop culture, and your review of cicadas is a little more based on reality.
Like I have always lived in a place with cicadas. So to me, when I think of cicadas, I think of the sounds they make, and I'm like, that's the sound of summer. Which
they
I'm not
the sound of summer.
Yeah, like I'm not the biggest summer fan in general, but I do appreciate the aesthetic, right? Like the heat,
the
shimmering of the like the shimmering of the sun and all that. And I do associate cicadas very strongly with that. I will say, sometimes I see people who live in places that don't have cicadas they will slander these beautiful insects, and I don't like that.
No. The only thing you could say against them is they're a bit big.
They're a bit scary.
Generally like that.
They do they do bite, by the way. Like, people don't know that because they're not aggressive at all. But if you try to like handle one, it'll nip you.
Just try not. Just let it stay on that fucking tree. Make those fucking noises. When they cry.
Yeah.
Cicada. That's what the title is in reference to. So
yeah,
it gets Higurashi echo points.
Cockroaches.
Cockroaches. I have also never seen one in my life. Okay, I am going to argue against F.
Why?
Because there are things later that I think should be in F. And I'm not even saying that about, like, moths. I'm saying that about, like, leeches and tapeworms, I think cockroaches...
I don't know. I've lived in places that have had intermittent cockroach issues, and they are the fucking worst.
Look.
They're bad, dude.
I don't think they're as bad as leeches and tapeworms.
Leeches are fine. Like I
No,
will argue with you that leeches are far
no.
enough. You're
Like,
never gonna randomly find a leech in your
maggots
house.
and grubs as well. Like,
Yeah, maggots and grubs are gross, but like they're not.
yeah.
You don't have to like fucking move if you have if you see like a grub of something in your house. Like that's gross as hell, and you should probably like clean, but it's not.
Look, because my thing with cockroaches is having, lived in a place that doesn't get them, so I don't have to deal with them.
Actually, what I just said about grubs is probably not true. If you see grubs inside, that's probably a bad sign. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But
if you see leeches inside, that's also a bad
if you
sign.
see leeches inside, what the fuck happened?
I mean, there's tarantulas on this list. Love a good tarantula. That thing's going high on the list. If you see a tarantula inside, what the fuck?
Yeah, like what? I mean, maybe if you live in like the American Southwest, maybe that's a concern. I don't know.
Yeah, but no. Well, because the thing about cockroaches is you can decapitate them and like nuclear bomb them, and they'll be okay. And so that's kind of aura.
That's not aura. That's terrible. I refuse to go higher than E. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll take E. Yeah. No, that's all I was campaigning for.
Alright, that's fine.
Cricket.
Crickets kind of freak me out a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of crickets.
Crickets are basically my cicadas because we don't have cicadas.
Well, we do have crickets here also, to be fair.
Yeah. They make noise sometimes.
Are sprickets on this list? Camel crickets? They're not. Okay.
To be fair,
because sprickets fucking suck, and I don't actually know if they are.
Ever. I've never heard of them.
Okay, so a spricket or a camel cricket is a large insect that is like a cricket. I don't know if they actually are crickets, but there's two things to know about these fucking things, okay? One is that they're pretty fucking big for insects. Two is that they live in dark places, and their reaction to having light shined on them is to jump toward the light. So, if you are, I don't know, someone who lives in a trailer park, perhaps, and you have to, I don't know, let's just say go under your house to check on something, and you have to, just theoretically speaking, like shine a light under there so you can see, and there happens to be a spricket under there, it will jump in your fucking face. Just theoretically speaking.
Yeah, that's gonna be shit.
Yeah.
Crickets are
crickets. I don't actually know if they are crickets though. So
I feel like crickets themselves are like a sort of a
neutral insect.
Like a D. They're they're very neutral, but they're also not like
I just
like
kind of don't care about them,
Yeah, I think C is fine.
Yeah, that's fair. C for cricket.
Yeah.
Daddy Longleg, maybe the worst named insect.
Yeah, and I think it deserves a loss of points for that. I also just don't like these guys at all. They are
It's also confusing because the name Daddy Longleg refers to like two different things depending on where you live in the world, but both of them are kind of off-putting and gross. So
my thing is
this kind, which are the larger ones, are also called harvest men, I think, which is also off-putting.
See, sorry, I was thinking back to the earlier if you see this insect in your house thing, and I saw a scorpion down there.
that I do know is a real concern in some parts of the American Southwest, which is like
not here, baby.
God help you.
Anyway, daddy longlegs, yeah, I think for me they're kind of almost the least pleasant insect to have in my room, which sometimes happens,
Really?
Mostly around summer.
Yeah, now, when you say a daddy longlegs, describe the insect that you're picturing to me, because again, this refers to two different bugs.
Okay, I'm gonna look up daddy longlegs.
It has just occurred to me, we've been calling this an insect tier list, and that's not the name of it. It's insects, bugs, and arachnids, which is good, because several of these things are not insects.
Okay. Cellar spider, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The Falsidae, which contains more than 1,800 individual species, including those commonly known as celery spiders, daddy longlegs, carpenter, daddy longlegger, vibrating spider, gyrating spider, long daddy, and angel spider.
Hey, the name vibrating spider is so scary. What the fuck do you mean it vibrates?
Okay, harvestmen, by the way,
Yeah.
are not here.
Are
I've never seen anything like that.
Harvestmen the littler ones?
The common name daddy longlegs is used for several species, but it's also the common name for several other arthropod groups, including harvestmen. I have no frame of reference for their size of these things, unfortunately.
Okay.
Although they are... Alright, Car, can you stop being a bit rude? Apparently, there are representatives of each extant suborder on all continents except Antarctica. Which means we need to, populate Antarctica with some of these bad boys. Anyway, yeah, no, I just don't like daddy longlegs. Their legs are too long.
They're unpleasant. Are we doing E or F?
E.
E is fine. Dragonfly. Dragonfly is kind of cool.
I don't know if I've ever seen one in real life, because
really?
The impression I get of dragonflies is that they're a lot larger than the ones I've seen.
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's a pretty big category, and some of them are fairly small, and some of them are quite big.
They're fine. They're neat.
Yeah, dragonflies are cool.
Storytelling type of thing, If you see a dragonfly, you're probably out like a pond.
Well, okay, we get a lot of them around here because I live in Chicago, and a lot of people don't know this. Chicago used to be a swamp. So we get a lot of them in summer, especially around near the lake area. Sometimes they fly into me or something, which is awful, but that's because they're kind of stupid. That's not really their fault. And I like looking at them, so I'll give them like a B. I think a B is a solid one.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Earwig, another just truly unpleasant name for an insect. I don't actually know anything about earwigs, though.
I'm pretty sure the earwig in their name is because they try to climb into ears. I think that's true.
Sorry, that's... gross.
Okay, apparently they might not.
Okay, one of those urban legend things. Good.
According to WebMD.com, earwigs are generally harmless bugs with a bad reputation.
Okay, so C... I would like to stop talking about this, I think.
I still kind of don't like them. They're pretty gross looking to me. I'm saying D.
Alright.
Yeah.
Fireflies.
I have never seen one of these in real life. As I understand, these guys are fucking S.
Yeah, no, fireflies, glowworms, lightning bugs. A lot of different names for these fellas. Fireflies are mostly a North American thing, I think. Although I think there's some in East Asia too. I'm not sure.
Anime has fireflies.
Yeah.
So,
So the interesting thing about fireflies in North America is there's actually a ridiculous number of subtly different species of them. And they're all really poorly documented, so there's an ongoing campaign to save the fireflies in North America. So that's an interesting thing. Mainly, they're just really pretty to look at. You go out on a summer night and you see all the lightning bugs lighting up, and you're like, fuck yeah, I am happy to be alive in the present moment. I do like fireflies a fair bit. If you encounter them in the day, they're kind of ugly. That's alright, though. The day is not their element.
Yeah, no,
I'm S.
I'm kind of happy with S, just based on how I've seen them depicted. They light a place up. That is their vibes.
Fleas. Let me tell you something, okay?
They're E or they're F.
About 10 years ago, one of my family's beloved cats got a real bad flea infestation, and we were dealing with that for the better part of a fucking year. It was not fun.
Yeah.
F is for flea.
Yeah, no, I absolutely like these.
Awful creatures. Hate them.
So most of these insects so far are kind of just like vaguely uncomfortable or like whatever. These guys are actively bastards to your pets and to humans sometimes, but
Oh
mostly
no!
to your
Yeah,
pets.
I'm going to tell you from
Yeah,
personal
okay.
experience. People can get flea infestations. It's
Yeah.
not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
But no, for me, it's mostly they fuck pets over and say not get lost. Flies are fucking
Awful.
This is just fly, is the thing.
Yeah,
So
it's just all flies, I suppose. Flies.
there's like a very type of common housefly in the UK that's like a lot bigger than it should be, and those are like the really disgusting germy ones.
Yeah.
But there are also tiny ones that are like, well, you're fucking inconsequential.
Well, okay. A lot of what people think are small flies are actually midges.
Yeah, although midges
It's a
here
different category.
they're very hard to find outside or inside, really.
Fair enough.
They hang around, like, trees and shit.
Flies, I feel like people are so accustomed to that we have kind of forgotten how awful they are.
That's true. That's true.
Like my least
I'm
favorite
like,
part of
argue
summer.
in favor of them, so I'll give you, you know.
Yeah, it's that flies start showing up. Is all I was gonna say.
I don't think they're
another
F or E or anything.
You know,
really?
I do think it's E. Yeah.
I would say D, just because they're, you know,
They
don't fucking.
I don't know. Flies can get you sick, like legitimately. I don't know.
It probably just is fucking difference in the types of flies that you and I see.
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna argue for
where we
E.
live. I'll let you have E. I've never even heard of a glowworm.
So I've always heard of glowworm as an alternate name for a firefly. So I don't know what this is then.
I don't want to make a who is this tier.
I do.
It has to be called Who Is This, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, all lowercase. Okay. Nice. Grasshopper?
Grasshopper's kind of cool, I guess.
I think to me they're kind of just like better crickets, you know.
Yeah, more vibrantly
they're a little
colored
less
usually.
Gross. They're a little nicer colored. They make a bit nicer noises, but they're not like. I think a grasshopper is a top of C, you know.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Yeah.
C for grasshopper.
Right. I have never seen a grub in real life. I hope I never have to.
Really?
Those are fucking disgusting.
Yeah, no, they're nasty. Especially, well, I think maggots are on here as their own category, but honestly,
Yes,
grubs
correct.
of like any bug are disgusting.
Yeah.
If you run into those, either you're outside and you quickly walk away, or if you're inside, well, now you've got a problem to deal with, which is not good.
Yeah. Headlers?
Not even going to talk about that.
I used to have those as lice as a kid.
That's awful. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it sucked. I had to get my hair cut because of that.
Yeah. No, you end up having to...
Yeah, that's the worst part, huh?
Yeah.
Ugh, not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they belong there. Hornets are...
So, sorry to keep sharing depressing stories from my younger years. However,
it makes me really glad I live in a country where insects just like don't fucking matter.
When I lived in the trailer park that I was talking about earlier, we had a paper hornet infestation. I think those are actually technically wasps. And are wasps on here on their own? I guess they are. Okay.
They are. See,
point being,
I don't know what paper hornet is. It sounds like shit, I'm sure.
I'll explain when we get to wasps. But that said, hornets are also awful. We have colonies of cicada eater wasps out front, and they're really annoying to have to kind of dodge around when I'm coming home from the grocery store or whatever during the summer. Which, if you don't know what a cicada eater hornet is, it's a hornet that
eats cicadas.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah,
to be fair, their
I'll be
hunting.
real, I could guess that, but thank you for explaining
their
it.
hunting technique is admittedly kind of cool, which is that they just fucking tackle them to the ground and stab them to death. But it's not really a pleasant thing
If
to
it
be
works, it
looking
works.
at.
My thing with hornets is they are just like wasps, but a bit shittier. The only like real credit I can give hornets is the Silk Song, Hornet from Hollow Knight. But that game's not out yet, and I think it's these guys' fault.
To be fair, depending on where you are, hornets do eat other insects that are like worse for people.
Yeah,
like they eat cockroaches and stuff. So I'll give you
D, probably.
Yeah, like we'll do a D. Jumping spiders.
I've never seen a jumping spider.
I have. Honestly, most jumping spiders are just kind of cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Like CB.
Yeah, they're it's a solid C, I think. Katydids are a relative of cicadas that live in other parts of the world. I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
I looked one up and it's too big for me.
Fair. I think this is just a who is this if neither of us have personal experience with these.
Yeah. Ladybirds. Which, by the way, that means the British person made this tier list.
True.
Which is crazy, because there are a lot of insects in here that we don't have.
You guys don't have, yeah. Ladybugs, as they're called in the United States, are wonderful.
They have zero problems, and they are pretty.
They do bite, so you gotta be a little careful. But,
just don't be an idiot. Yeah. A or S.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's one of those things like cicadas where they only bite if you are rude about them. And also, most ladybugs are so small that they can't actually hurt you anyway.
See, most of the things you've seen on this tier list are like a horrible brown color. Look at this red. Look at it.
We actually get a fair number of like different ladybug coats in the U.S. I don't know if you guys have different
Sometimes
colors.
You might see like a green one if you're,
a green one.
But mostly it's just red.
Yeah, we get red, orange, yellow, occasionally like black with yellow spots I've seen around.
Kind of raw.
Those are cool. A lot of different coats.
It's just called an S, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaf insects they have aura.
I don't think I've ever seen one, and if I have, it was doing a very good job.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? They have aura. They're like ninjas from Naruto, kind of. Think about it.
Apparently... Oh, I looked up, does Scotland have leaf insects? We have what's called leaf beetles, which don't look like leaves whatsoever. They just look like beetles.
Yeah, okay.
So the answer is no. I don't have them, so I have never, ever seen one.
I think I've seen them in like a zoo exhibit or something.
Or we do have them, and they're so
they're really good at staying hidden. Yeah. No, but
I know about them. It's
I like
fucking leaf insect.
I think this might be an A. Like I really like leaf insects, but I just don't see them around that often. Leeches
are disgusting. I can go an F. I don't care what they do or offer to the fucking ecosystem.
I want to just look something up real quick.
Gross.
Are leeches bugs? I don't actually know what a leech is. No, they're worms. Okay. Huh.
I mean, worms are on the thing, so...
Closely related to earthworms. That's crazy.
Insects, bugs, and arachnids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going in F, though. Fucking...
I mean, I don't encounter them that often, really, so sure, you can
I've never seen one, I never will, hopefully, but they're gross.
A locust.
See, a locust is just another kind of shit cricket.
You say kind of. Locusts can really fuck somebody's day up if they live in the wrong part of the world. Oh yeah,
you get like fucking locust swarms that destroy like entire ecosystems.
Locusts might honestly be like the worst ones on here, depending on your situation. Like a locust can really ruin your day.
Like E, because I don't think they're
not really a thing where I live either, but
They're kind of like shit crick.
Yeah, you know.
I think E.
Maggots
Are also going in F because they're disgusting. Mantis, on the other hand,
the praying mantis is like
one of the best character designs in the animal kingdom.
That also, like, they are. I don't know if this is actually true, but I've always heard that they're like very
decapitating the fucking husband.
Oh yeah,
thing.
that too. But I've always heard that they're like very intelligent for insects. So like that's kind of cool. Some people actually keep praying mantises as pets, which I've always thought was like, huh, I didn't know you could do that.
They're pretty fucking big, to be fair.
Yeah.
But small, they're like big without being like, you know, some insects they're big and you look at them and you're like, but they're big and it's like, you know, yeah, you look like you should be that size.
Yeah, no, they're like kind of awe-inspiring. Like whenever I see a praying mantis, I'm like, whoa, it's a praying mantis.
Yeah. Also, I'll be real, like Cypher.
True. Yeah.
And Scissor.
I was gonna say A. We gotta put him in S.
We gotta. Look at that fucking design.
Mealworms.
I can't say that actually, because that would detract points.
Are.
I was just gonna say that's Kung Fu Panda and, you know, fucking funny weed guy plays Mantis, Seth Rogen. But that's, you know. I've never seen a mealworm. I've never heard of a mealworm. Are they basically fucking maggots?
No, they're earthworms basically, but you feed them to other animals. Like if you have like a lizard, you feed it mealworms. I have no opinion on these guys.
I think that's enough utility to get like a C.
Okay, fair enough.
Utility. That's a funny word to assign to a meal.
You know.
Mitch, these guys are just kind of like annoying, right?
Yeah.
They're not like bad enough to completely piss you off, but they can't. I took a nice photo where some midges were caught by the sunlight such that they created like a nice sort of golden effect everywhere. I think D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Millipede. Kind of just a worm with legs, if we're being honest.
I think that centipedes, I'm like seeing that image in C tier and thinking, God, those are some freaky bastards. But in the millipede, yeah, it's kind of just a worm with legs.
Yep.
I think put it above centipede.
Fair enough.
Just it.
Might.
Grasshopper. Might, you know. See, as a kid, I always just called these red ants because
we don't really have many of them in my neck of the woods, or at least I don't run into them very often, so I'm gonna leave the final placement here to you.
Oh wait, there is such a thing as a red ant. Wait, is this a...
Yeah, no, red ants are just a thing.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen a red ant, but I think I've seen a midge, because I'm looking at these and thinking midges look a bit more familiar. When you're a kid, not midge, mite. For whatever reason, when I was a kid, if you saw a mite on the playground, it's like, oh, those are the poisonous ones, don't touch them. I don't think that's true. You probably still shouldn't touch them, but I don't actually know. Like, these are like a fucking D, honest. Like, I don't actually care about them at all. They're fucking... They're nothing. They're nothing.
Mosquitoes. Once again,
malaria bastards.
A bug that can really fuck your day up if you're unlucky. I think this is solidly an F.
Yeah, I think put them at the top of F because they don't make me as sick as the other things.
No, man. Like I'd rather run.
Okay, you know, below flu still.
All right.
Nah, you know. Right. Here it is.
Speak on this.
I have a phobia of moths. It is irrational, such as the nature of phobias. The, like, type of moth that you most commonly see in the UK is like a reasonably small thing, but it's a little too hairy and it's a little too dusty. I've had bad experiences getting rid of them. But I also... This is an objective tier list.
Yeah, of course.
And I think... Like, in that sense, I can't actually say that much against moths. they're frankly, in terms of like quality, the like, you know, they're really not doing anything as bad as anything from like D or below.
For sure, yeah.
But then being me,
I
don't
will
want
say
to see them that high.
I will say I am actually kind of a moth apologist, which is not something I ever bring up around my good friend Josh, because before I am an apologist of any animal, I am an apologist of other humans. So I like to be considerate, but it is relevant in this context. I think some moths have very nice patterns, pleasant to look at, in my opinion. You see a moth in the middle of the night, like hovering around the lamp at a corner store or something. That's an aesthetic to me. That's a strong.
That's
image.
Environmental storytelling. Yeah, it's true.
I think
I've really redefined environmental storytelling.
Yeah, you really have. I want them to be in A or B. I will allow lower if you feel strongly about it.
I will give you bottom of B.
All right, fair.
Because totally I was going to say like top of C to bottom of B. You were going to say A or B. B is the average of those things. So
that's all good.
Right.
Scorpions.
Fucking legends, these guys. I mean, Jesus Christ.
If I lived in a place where scorpions were common, I would hate them, but I don't, so I'm just like, they're fucking
scorpions are just
cool as shit.
They're cool. They're really fucking cool. They have been turned into some of the best character designs across so many different things. They're a very good boss character in tons of different video games, you know?
Absolutely.
They're it. I mean, Jesus Christ, how did they fucking, like... Here's the thing, right? They're an arachnid, they've got the 8 legs, but then they've got the claws as well. It's like, whoa. Well, this guy's already pretty hard. But then the stinger? Like, I mean, my god, they're so fucking versatile. Mm-hmm. That's a fucking arachnid.
Yeah.
That is a banger fucking arachnid.
I'm gonna bring something up that the tier list doesn't explicitly mention, but I think they're related to actual scorpions, so it feels relevant.
Scorpion from Mortal Kombat?
No. A different kind of bug, not scorpion from Mortal Kombat. There's also a kind of insect called a book scorpion, and they are they're harmless, but they look like really tiny scorpions. And
that's awesome.
And whenever they are threatened, they put their stingers up in like a fucking like praise the sun Dark Souls pose to try to scare off predators. Which I think is really fucking good.
I was going to say we should put them in A tier because S tier is a bit crowded, but I can't not put them in S tier. I mean, be so real.
Yeah.
Put them above Mantis. Put them above Firefly, actually.
Okay, come on. Let's be real.
Above Ladybird,
then. I'll give you
above Mantis and Pirate.
Yeah. Silverfish.
I've never seen one.
I feel like more. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like more people know about these from Minecraft than real life. Silverfish are one of those kinds of insects where it's just like they like to just get in your house and turn up unpleasantly in unexpected places. They're not dangerous. They're not disease bearing. They're just kind of unpleasant. So like
that's like a D to an E, right? Or a D. Okay, so
slug.
I think. The thing, like, slugs and snails are completely different things.
No, they're not.
They're different. They're pretty different.
I am almost positive that a slug is just a snail without a shell. Yeah.
Okay, no, because the fucking internal organs are in the shell.
A land slug is a common name for any shellless terrestrial gastropod.
Okay, they're all gastropods, but, like, you know...
Well, so are snails.
Look, you can't, like, take a snail's shell off and get a slug because its internal organs are in there. And
well, no, because they're different species, but, like, they are just... Like, there's no strong...
All I'm saying is, when you're a kid, you think a slug is just a snail without a shell, but not.
Yeah, but it's more complicated than that, but it's not, like, its own distinct...
I really just bring this up to say that, like, I think they are part of a pair, but we can separate them. I just think we need to do them both at once. And I just think slugs are worse than snails.
Correct.
Just a linear downgrade. It's a snail without a helmet, without its armor, without its aura, you know?
Well, okay, I will say, there are species of, like, individual species of slug that are cool looking.
Yeah.
Like a red slug. You ever seen a red slug? They're kind of
I have
cool.
not.
Would a DM
For
you
what's
a
worth,
picture
this was
of a
not
red
about
slug?
to turn into like so slugs are going in F tier, and
Well, no, it's just like I was gonna agree with what you're probably getting at, which is that slugs are, largely speaking, not as cool as snails.
They are. Whatever tier they go in, slug is, I think, a full tier below snail.
Yeah, I think slugs are a C.
Interesting. Tell you what, yeah, they might actually be. Because I was going to say I think they're a full tier below, but you're probably right. They're more than a full tier below. I think slugs are C.
Well, I mean,
they're high up in C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think snails could probably be high A, low B.
See, have you ever seen
high B, low A? That's what I meant to say.
Have you ever had an opportunity to encounter a giant African land snail?
No.
Well, okay, I realize, yeah, it's got a giant African land snail. I've never been to Africa. Somebody brought one into school once.
That's
which was
crazy.
a weird one. It is exactly what most snails look like, but fucking massive.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
here's my thing.
They're not even like redesigned. It's literally just like scale fucking times 10, you know? No, more than that. Like fucking times 100, actually.
Here's
normal snails are tiny.
Well, normal snails can be many sizes. Here's the thing.
Big.
Here's the thing. Okay, snails are like when you talk about snails, you're talking about a couple different things. Because there's land snails, of course, but there's also sea snails.
Sea snails. Which are pretty cool.
And a lot of sea snails are important because they're like what we used to make dyes out of, like color dyes, like
that's helpful.
Imperium purple, Roman red. And as somebody who has a cursory interest in fabric dyeing, which I do, I think that's an interesting facet. Also, the shells of snails are very interesting a lot of the time, and they're useful even to other animals because a lot of hermit crabs take up residence in snail shells. So I'm like. This is like an A tier creature for me.
Because I honestly want to campaign for S.
But
that also feels like we're.
Here's my thing: is that there's also a lot of snails that are just kind of boring. So it's like it's.
I think a boring snail is still really good.
Is it
I'm perhaps going to say
good as a mantis, though?
Well, I'm actually about to campaign to move a mantis down into A tier.
Really?
Because I just think snails are cool.
Alright. I'll
cool in a different way than a mantis.
I'll let you have that.
Oh, I thought we were going to have them both in A.
Okay, that can also work. I mean, yeah. That's about how I feel, to be honest.
Snails are little guys. That's almost more what I was getting.
They are little
guys until they're fucking massive, and they're still little guys.
I do love little guys.
Right, spider. One spider. That's it. It's just spider. There's a lot of those.
Huh?
You know what? Right. The main types of insects that I end up seeing in my room, hypothetically, are just like really small houseflies and spiders. If I see a housefly, it's like, yeah, you're getting killed. Whatever.
Anybody who comes into the comments and is like, spiders aren't insects, Josh clearly just meant bugs. Get over it.
Yeah, sorry. Bugs, arachnids. Tiny creatures.
It's like, insects have 6 legs, arachnids have 8 legs.
8 and
decapods have 10. Like, we all know it. It's cool.
Yeah. So, If a spider's in my room, I'm not out to kill that little guy.
Now,
I got a cup, a piece of paper, go outside. Bye. I'll see you next time.
now,
I chill.
I am deeply afraid of spiders. So,
Well,
again, we come to my previous life experience. I used to live in the fucking woods. It was very easy to get big old spiders in my house.
Yeah. See, spiders here are tiny.
God, I have this really... I have to share this story. It's just no bearing on where we're going to put it on the tier list, but it's just one of those things where it's like, what the...
Yeah.
One time, it was like in early-ish October, and I saw this big fucking spider in the... like... clinging to the window of the kitchen in the house that I lived at the time. And
Outside or inside?
Inside. And I honestly, genuinely for real, because it was so big and so rubbery looking, I thought it was a Halloween decoration. So I fucking touched it. And it promptly
scuffled away.
It fell down onto the counter when I freaked out and realized I had just put my hands on an actual goddamn spider. And it ran away across the counter, and it was so big that it fucking... it was like a thumping as it scuttled away. Like, awful experience. One of the worst afternoons of my life, genuinely.
Yeah. My thing... Because, you didn't try to convince me to overcome my phobia of moths. I'm not going to try to convince you to overcome your arachnophobia. I think spiders are some of the better character designs among this kingdom.
Oh yeah, they're cool.
And they have been adapted into a lot of very good things.
Yeah. There is like a weird thing.
Pokemon?
Yeah.
I guess it's a tarantula and that's later on the list, but,
Yeah. There is like a weird thing where after a certain point they stop registering as spiders to me. Like a tarantula is so big that in my brain is just like that's just like a different creature.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Or like a big old orb weaver. I'm like that's a different thing, which is wild because I think orb weavers are actually much more dangerous on average. But anyway,
what I want to do here is put them at least beside moth. Just as simple.
That's fair.
It's the thing we're both afraid of.
Yeah,
I could argue for a higher position. I think culturally, spiders are very, good, very important.
That's true.
The giant frostbite spiders in Skyrim, yeah.
Like that.
But we don't need to do any higher. I think that's fine. Spiders have contributed more to pop culture than moths have. I'm sorry, Mothra. We do love you, but, Right. The stick insect?
I do feel like it's kind of just a slightly worse leaf insect.
Well, here's my thing, right? Remember Get Stick Bugged?
Good fucking point. I did love Get Stick Bugged. Also, I do know about Ball's Pyramid stick insects, which are ridiculously huge.
Just so I didn't hear you.
Ball's Pyramid insect. That is the name of the creature. Yes.
Oh, I don't like that thing.
I just like that they're huge.
Nah, that's my, that's too much for me. But no, Get Stick Bugged is A, right? A or top of B, I would say.
Whoa, hey, sorry, I was trying to look up a picture of a ball pyramid stick bug. I just learned that some stick bugs have startle displays, which is they've got big brightly colored flaps on the underside of their wings, and they just flip them up to scare off predators. That's kind of cool.
I
didn't know about that.
Top of B to A tier for stick insect.
We can do top of B, I think. Yeah.
Get stick bugged.
Tapeworms are
F.
Come on. Don't even.
Right.
Tapeworms kill
tarantula.
people. Don't even play about that.
Yeah, no.
The tarantula.
Fucking even more so. When you think of spiders getting adapted into like big things, it's the tarantula.
Yeah.
That they're really doing.
I have to
spiders
give.
and Skyrim are tarantulas.
I have to give a shout out to the Goliath bird eater, which, true to its name, is the only living species of invertebrate that I'm aware of that routinely eats vertebrates. Like, they call it that because it catches and eats birds.
That's crazy. I'm seeing photos of this thing. See, this is also massive, but, you know, if I saw a tarantula in real life, I think I would shit myself. But when I see them in photos, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's, like, alien as fuck, honestly.
Yeah, no, they're...
12-year-old Goliath bird here. Jesus. Fuck, that's old. Yeah, no, they get turned into a lot of cool things in pop culture. Galvantula, the Pokemon, whom I mentioned earlier, one of the best electric types, one of the best bug types, one of the best Gen 5 Pokemon. Just a sick motherfucker. I think it goes in S, honestly. It's too cool not to.
Well, I don't know. S is... Can I convince you A?
Top of it.
Alright.
I think it and Scorpion are like buddies, you know? Right, fucking termites.
Termites are another one where it's just like, this will ruin your day. Honestly, to an even greater extent than some of the other stuff we've got in F tier, like, if you have a termite infestation in your house, you're not going to have a house for much longer. Like, that's...
no, that's bottom of F.
Yeah, that's like... That definitely buddies with the tapeworm. Like...
Yeah.
Ticks, you know... Similarly, like...
Ticks are more common here than fleas, I think. So, to me, that's like...
Shit. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, they're probably not more common, actually,
Ouch.
but, like, I have... My dog had ticks at some point, and it's like you can see...
Ticks are...
It's quite a growth
that
they'll end up with if you have a tick bite. It's really disgusting.
It's nasty.
These are another F for me.
Yeah. Also, again, this is a creature that kills people. So,
yeah.
If you get a tick bite and you don't learn about it in time, you're gonna have an issue.
Yeah, that's probably it. Wasps, which...
Yeah. Okay. So to go back to the anecdote that I started earlier, for a while, when I lived in the trailer park, we had a paper wasp infestation. What a paper wasp is, as the name implies, it is a nest building wasp that chews up wood and turns it into this like paper mache kind of substance and builds its nest that way.
Oh, I see. I can see the problem.
Yeah. This is an issue if you live in a house that's made at least partly out of wood, which I did at the time. And short version, ended up with them routinely getting in my room because they would just literally eat through the fucking floor. Horrible.
Yeah.
The worst. On top of all that, I'm allergic to wasp venom. So... Scary stuff.
I have, at some point in my life, been stung by a wasp. It was when I was so young that it's like a extremely distant memory. I might have been stung by a bee before as well. My experience with a lot of wasps is just seeing them and just being like, yeah, you're, you know... like the third stage evolution of like a bee in like Pokemon terminology. It's a little less fluffy, a little bit edgier.
Yeah.
But of course, for the purposes of the insect kingdom,
it's one of those
that's actually not like, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like a cool thing. Bees are awesome. You're just like a bee that is cute and doesn't make honey.
Yep. I actually think some species of wasp do make honey. There's like a weird conversion evolution thing where some species of wasp are bee-like. We're not talking about those though.
Like if fucking there's some like weird fucking... What are they like? Are they like Asian or African like killer hornets or wasps or something? Fucking...
That's like a thing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some scary motherfuckers out there. If I was on my own rating this, it would be like low B into C. But I'm not so strongly, for those positions. I don't. Okay, I kind of want like at least E.
Fine.
And I don't think they belong in the F tier. I'm sorry about your trauma.
I will say that if I was fatally allergic to Venom, I would not be here to argue with you about this in the first place. But, instead I'm just pretty allergic to it.
Water Striders are another environmental storytelling.
Water Striders, I mostly associate with my my grandparents on my dad's side. They used to own a pretty nice house up in the Pocono Mountains, and I would go up there sometimes in the summer, and they had a little creek running back through the back of their yard, and I would look at the Water Striders because I thought they were super cool as a child.
I don't know if I've ever seen one before because Scotland, lol.
Fair. They do this thing where they like dart across the water's surface, and it's really cool looking.
Yeah, no, I've seen it be like represented in visual mediums.
That's a very fun way to say anime without saying anime.
On video games. Come on, Jane.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool though. I could see like C or B or something.
Fair.
I think it's B. I'm thinking like with cicadas,
Yeah. Similar summertime.
Environmental storytelling insects. Right.
I don't know anything about weevils other than the fact that apparently if you are a farmer, you fucking hate these guys.
The only thing I know about weevils is that when I was a kid, I had a friend that, like, we would play the like online social games that you played as a kid, like Club Penguin, Mossy Monster shit. He really wanted me to play bin weevils, and I did too. But for whatever reason, my account registering never, ever, 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 ever worked. So I never got to play bin weevils. And it would let you create a character before you like registered your account, and I could only ever get as far as that creating a character, and I never actually played the game with him. Want to know who is this?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I will say, I just looked up like the Wikipedia page for weevils, and they got a picture of something called a nut weevil. Terrible name.
Yeah.
And I think if I saw one of these in real life, I would scream so loud that my throat would like evert and I'd die on the spot. But that's a me problem. They've got like cartoonish snouts. It's fucked up.
I don't know. I think these are kind of funny.
Okay, but like I need you to imagine seeing that in real life and with like the way that insects like move and locomote.
That's true.
Also, I don't know if it actually is very big, but it looks very big.
Hey, fucking macro photography does that to the insects, okay?
Who is scary? Yeah, who is this? Who is this man? Woodlice.
Isopod.
Tomari's favorite bug.
Tomari's favorite bug. They look just like fucking isopods, like from the bottom of the ocean and shit.
They do, which I always thought was cool. I think they are, in fact, fairly closely related for creatures that live in very different environments.
Yeah.
Let me look that up to make sure I'm not spreading misinformation.
They're very common here as well, by the way. If they're very common here, they're Tomari's favorite insect. Have you? I'm sure you've seen
I have.
Yeah, these guys are probably just everywhere then.
Often called roly-polies or ball beetles where I grew up. Sometimes pill bugs as well, yeah.
They must be fucking everywhere.
Yeah, no, they're very widespread. I like these guys. They're cute.
Yeah.
Like A.
A's fine with me.
A. Worm, just like all of them, I guess.
They're fine. You know, when I was a kid and didn't really care about what I touched, I would happily like pick up a worm and be like hi or whatever. But now that I care about what I touch, I don't really do that anymore. Although there was like an instant fucking, it's like a couple months ago or whatever, it was like hot summer and I saw a worm on concrete and I was like, oh, you're gonna have a horrible time. So I picked up and put into some like thick bushy grass for it. And then like washed my hands shortly afterwards. Because like, you know.
Fair.
I think worms are fine. They are, I don't really like them.
See?
But I don't like dislike them.
Down with the other worms.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think they're. I would put them like with slug, to be fair.
Okay. And I'll be honest with you, the only thing I know about aphids is that ants use them for something, I think. Because ants are famously one of the only other species that does agriculture on a limited scale, and they do that whole kind of thing.
See, I don't know if I've seen these before, although I'm seeing photos, and these guys are tiny.
Are we thinking? We thinking who is this man?
It seems like we have them, but I've never ever seen one. I don't think.
I have no first-hand knowledge of them either. To be fair,
apparently they're not great to potatoes.
That makes sense.
Which is bad. They love potatoes. Yeah, I think who is this?
Fair.
Right.
That's a tier. Can I be honest with you? I'm like really happy with
that
this
was
tier
great
list.
fun.
Yeah, like that was fun. We've got like a nice distribution. Like
that's true. That's the thing I'm really happy with.
Yeah. That was a good fucking video. Wow, we spent an hour on that. That didn't even
strongly opinionated.
Yeah. You know, I'm cool with that, honestly. Like that's some good fucking content.
Yeah, no, straight up. I think for the thumbnail you should use like clip art because people are a bit sensitive.
That's
about
a good point.
And I don't want like fucking Johnny random YouTuber to like get scared shitless.
You know,
seeing like a close up of.
I'm kind of thinking like an arrow pointing to clip art of a snail and just asking, "Is he overrated?" would be a good.
That's goated, actually. Yeah. Holy shit. The answer is no, by the way.
Yeah, no, but it's one of those things. It's like the law of headlines, of questions and headlines. Of like, if you are asking the question in the headline, the answer is usually no. But you know,
yeah.
Anyway, subscriber will fuck your dad.
Yeah.